picks and bans came number 2. I'm exactly with you here, Ryan. I think what happened, yeah, I think what happened was they realized, okay, we probably just lose this game off of that Odin pick. Let's go for 15 minutes and see what happens. And they saw what happened. And they were ready to move on to game 2. I really think that was because sometimes you pick Afro into Circat and you still win.
Yes.
And you're just like, you know what, maybe it can happen because players really do the piloting. Not the case. They figured it out. Move on. Scotty Nardo banned out by ALG and Kapow. They changed their roster. They couldn't even change that.
I know, the clan tag. I mean, it's a cool clan tag.
Kapow!
But it doesn't, like, it's not a Mighty Storm.
But you know what I like? I like harassing chat because now everybody's going to put the Kapow emote in chat. If you don't, I'll find you. 2 more bans, Osiris and Robin by Kapow and ALG respectively.
Osiris, again, focusing out CycloneSpin. This leaves open Chulainn. Allegiance always willing to first pick that. Terra open here as well if they want to go that route. But instead, they're just going to go for Hu-Yi. Metyankey must be feeling it.
Metyankey's just saying, feed me. Feed me, feed me. He's back in his old position. Give him back his old hunter. Let him do his thing. Don't forget, I mean, DreamHack last year, I mean, he's the original pool player on crack. He knows those angles.
Yep.
Knows how to play this character. First pick it, no problem. Terra will be the supportive choice for a Mighty Storm. And next to him will be the Erlang Shen.
So this does leave open Chulainn for the side of Allegiance. Kapow was in a tough spot there because they either pick Terra Erlang / Chulainn or they pick both warriors and still leave Terra open for Allegiance. So that's why Allegiance goes with the Hu-Yi route because they know they're going to get at least one of those 3 on the back side. So at least get a priority pick in that first spot, and then you get whatever one that a Mighty Storm doesn't want on the back side.
The Fafnir will be the selection one more time for NeiruMah. I like this character a lot for Neil because Fafnir sits exactly where, if you're unfamiliar with how Neil's playstyle is, he does both. He likes to be aggressive, but he also likes to protect his team. He both protect and attack, as Tully would say. And
he would say that.
So he's going to look for, you know, the way to sort of be that utility player, but also just jump in your face and be Fafnir. I love this pick for this player. Still locked in for Mighty Storm.
NeiruMah is so much fun to watch because I feel like when I watch him play, he's picked out different play styles of really great supports and kind of made them into one conglomeration that is NeiruMah. Like, he's got that, you know, in-your-face, annoyance, get away from me style that Aurora has at times. He's got that excellent protect sort of composition that Jeff does. His communication is excellent as well. He's got a really fun style to watch.
I think he's one of the top supports in the league just as far as raw talent is concerned. And this being his first year in the league, I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with him as the future goes on. Cupid, hunter of choice for Vetium. I've always really liked Vetium's Cupid.
He's always been very comfortable on it, and this is the perfect matchup for him. Hu-Yi, where he's got that jump and no CSC and ultimate. Will Metyankey get the same amount of pressure in the early game? That could make Vetium's job a little bit harder on the Cupid, but I agree with you. This is a great pick here.
It allows him to team fight very well. He doesn't have to take the boxing fight. He can dash away, which again, Vetium, one of these players that sort of just goes with the win. He can fight you, he can choose not to, but I like it better when he doesn't. And then he rotates for these team fights. Vetium's rotations, always very sound. I feel like every time Vetium makes the rotation, it matters. And when you're playing on a character like Cupid with such a giant open ultimate, I love this choice for him and his team.
I like Kapow's draft a lot more this time because they went with Erlang Shen and Sun Wukong, the double warriors, and both great at setting up for this Scylla in the mid lane for ShadowChair. Plus, you've got the Terra this time around, a little bit more mobility than the Geb has, a little bit more pressure in the early game than Geb has. Would have rather seen Sam on the Erlang Shen than the Sun Wukong. I'm a big believer in Erlang Shen jungle. I think it's fantastic.
I'm the other way. I love the King of the Monkey in the jungle.
Well, then we'll have to wait and see which way it goes. I just feel like Erlang Shen brings more reliable long-range CC. It has a much better boxing potential. The poke potential for Sun Wukong, far better in the jungle, no doubt about it. But as far as the full commit goes, and you want a full commit with this type of roster, I think Erlang Shen's better.
I see, for me, Sun Wukong is one of these characters. So is his 3v3 Gold Fury team fight, his 3v3 mid lane, and then the team fight. I love his team fight a little bit more than I like Erlang Shen's. Knockup plus AoE slow. Love that. Big damage poke. And then just as far as his gank potential is concerned, you don't need to use the ultimate. You're leveling your one and then your animals, and you're just bursting people down. Whereas a fineokay on the Erlang Shen, if the Erlang Shen is in the jungle, you kind of always need that taunt to really secure a kill. Whereas Sam for soccer, do I have animals? I can Tiger Stun. I'm good.
Well, fineokay also might have a better matchup with the Erlang Shen in lane, and that could be the real deciding factor. I mean, Sun Wukong and Erlang very close in terms of jungle potential, but in the solo lane against Chulainn specifically, fineokay is going to have a much better time in terms of sustaining himself up.
For sure.
Won't have a safe clear, so that could spell a little bit of trouble for him, but to me this spells that a Mighty Storm says which matchup is better for you in the solo lane more so than in the jungle.
Absolutely. I think that's the reason they go the right call, putting the jungle monkey in the jungle.
Oh, the right call, huh?
Oh, yeah. That's the right call, actually.
Ah, I see.
5 sentences before, I was going to say I think this is just a field call. I don't think either one is better than the other. But when you hard committed, then I got to say it's the right call.
Metyankey is going to end up with a little bit more farm than Vetium at this stage because on that Hu-Yi, who can clear the jungle so well, it's why he's so potent right now, basically exclusively because of jungle clear. He's able to clear the back camps before whereas Vetium only gets the red buff and a little bit of the purple before going to lane. However, because Vetium went to lane, that means that he's got a slight experience lead for now. But whenever Metyankey and Vetium starts trading these waves back and forth, Met having picked up that purple buff, having picked up that back harpies as well, is going to put him a little bit farther ahead.
Last time around, we were talking about the lack of CC on the other side, and so hunters generally kind of snap pick beads because, sure, that's the way to go. But this time around, fineokay coming around from the backside, but Cyclone able to jump away. We see the Aegis selection from Metyankey, likely to deal directly with Cupid. I love this choice here. I like a lot of times beads is the default, but I like seeing players understand that sometimes you have to go for Aegis.
And Aegis so good against Cupid because he's got very telegraphed burst damage off of Heart Bomb, off of Fields of Love. Now, Purification Beads gets you out of the stun potential from Heart Bomb if Cupid's passive is stacked up, or the Mesmerize and Slow from Fields of Love, but doesn't stop that damage from Heart Bomb. And that's where all of Cupid's damage really comes from. A wise choice for him.
The same thing when it comes to Scylla. Like, you're going to get rooted, but the crush and the ultimate is really what you're afraid of. So you can sit in that root if you have the Aegis available. I like the Aegis. I really like the Aegis. Later on, he'll definitely need a beads to deal with Vivian and fineokay. But right now, not so much. Legion's sniffing around on the gremlins, but Mighty Storm able to pick those up, no problem.
Weekend woke up with a good sense of humor today because he went with the 2 gods that he gets memed for in the jungle, Odin and Thor. Now he said, I did more than 6/6 damage game 1. Now I'm gonna hit some Thor ults in game 2.
I mean, this is the team to do it against, right? I mean, what was Taco? What was Taco saying? He was like, I think people are going to be a little bit nicer to Weekend in chat for once because of Vivian. I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true either.
People are never nice to Weekend. In fact,
my favorite is when we're like broadcasting like EUSCL and someone comes in like Kurt Schrey is ruining this game. Like, what do you think Weekend's doing? It's a Monday. Like, he's probably just going about his day.
He's definitely making a YouTube video.
Well, yeah, he's always on that YouTube grind.
He's always doing something like that. But watching Weekend do his thing is one of the fun things. I think being nice to Weekend takes away his power.
He feeds off of it, and that I can tell you that for a fact. I was a teammate with Kurt. He is an excellent teammate, and really doesn't let any of that kind of stuff bother him. He definitely feeds off of it, and that's what a lot of pro players need. I mean, not only in terms of esports, but traditional sports as well. You hear it all the time. Oh yeah, this guy's got a chip on his shoulder. This guy has a
mentality,
little bit of extra edge, and Weekend enjoys it. He likes playing that. You know, if you like him, great. He likes you too. If you don't like him, great. He doesn't bother him either. You know, it doesn't really matter to him.
Right here, just hits level 5. The Mighty Storm sniffing around his speed buff, but not going to be able to grab it. Sam for Soccer takes a stun, able to walk away, and nice little jump coming out there as well. Allegiance grouping up as 3, able to defend their speed. They let the blue buff go away, and fineokay will just have to sort of deal.
Good relic choices by Cyclone and fineokay in terms of Cyclone in particular, because fineokay had to go sprint because of the horrific emblem.
Cyclone actually able to protect that blue. I missed that one.
Cyclone got the blue, but couldn't do the same for the speed, and blue buff not super impactful for Chulainn. It's really just there to give him a little bit of HP 5 is what he gets instead of that blue regeneration, because he doesn't use mana, of course. Much more important in terms of actual farm and golden XP that blue buff provides him more than anything else.
Cyclone getting chased down. You have to use a little bit of that health chalice so far. This one, Weekend has the ult. As a Thor, you're 6. Go make a move. Go make a move, man. He wants to finish his boost before he actually takes off. I think that's the game plan.
just wanting to have that burst potential, because right now, even in the mid lane, Ocean's not going to be hitting particularly hard either. You're playing a late game Chronos, you need some time to ramp that up, and it's not that big burst of mage damage that you really want following up off of Thor ult necessarily. Weekend's playing Thor here to combine with CycloneSpin to get into the backline and make life difficult for a Mighty Storm, but also to try and protect the double hunter sort of mentality that Allegiance has gone for with this Fafnir. This draft it could work very, very well, but look for Weekend to have a different style of Thor than most of you're used to seeing. It's not that dunk onto the mid lane in the 2v1 and all of a sudden you get a free kill, and that could still be the case in this game, but much more team fight oriented is the idea.
And I mean that's always generally Weekend's approach to the game anyway, right? I mean, we'll see a couple of assassin plays out of him, but generally he's a facilitator. And I think that's why I enjoy watching him for what it's worth. I like his style. A little bit different than some of the other top junglers. Big stun coming out from Vetium, setting up the Cupid damage, but Ocean's able to Aegis it away. Level 7 does have the ult available if he gets in more trouble. Instead, just an exchange of ideas. Vetium and Metyankey drop their ults, and everybody else walks home.
2 relics, though, on Weekend and Oceans combined from that one ultimate from Vetium. Nice stun by Vivian, sets it all up, as you called, and Allegiance just has to be worried about that. That's the exact type of area that Mighty Storm want to fight you in, is in the jungle where you have a little bit less space to run, and that Fields of Love is going to cover every one of your options.
Ultimate out of Cyclone, just to get the 2 players off his tower. Sam and fineokay just kind of dabbling over there and solo.
In this game, Mighty Storm have much better ward coverage than they did in Game 1, and that's allowed them to be a little bit more aggressive. Weekend has not been able to be positioned quite as aggressively, but again, keep in mind, this is pretty similar to what ALG did in Game number 1. They didn't get off to a rocket start. They just, whenever they got that lead, never relinquished it.
Well, speed buff spawning one more time. Both buffs respawning. And so Mighty Storm sticking their nose in Allegiance's jungle. And here comes Sam for soccer, and he gets a little bit of help from the shell. Right in the air goes to Wukong. And generally, one more time, we'll just reset.
Weekend chases the beads out from ShadowChair as Cyclone's still going aggressive onto Sam for soccer. Doesn't have that ultimate, the war cry, but good job by Allegiance to chase a Mighty Storm off of their speed buff. I'd like to see Weekend in the air a little bit earlier there, because I don't think anyone, Allegiance, a Mighty Storm, particularly Sam for soccer, was anticipating how low that Sun Wukong was going to get and how quickly that happened. And Weekend is positioning defensively there because of the lack of relics. He doesn't have the purification beads, so he knows one taunt from fineokay, one stun from Vivian ends up in him eating an eye of a monster. So that's why he's so patient in going in that scenario. It just ends up that Sam would have gotten CC chained, one of those things that you can't really predict ahead of time necessarily.
Yeah, just got to deal with it. And that's kind of what we've seen out of our players so far. 8.5 in, still scoreless here on a nice Friday afternoon.
Special edition.
Yeah.
SBO.
If you guys are just joining us, last week we had Hurricane Irma, so we had to reschedule some of those games. We played them yesterday. So this is the official beginning of week number 3. Halfway through, basically. Kind of fun.
The NA side of things, CycloneSpin and the rest of Allegiance trying to secure these fire elementals, but it goes the Mighty Storm's way.
So right here, we've got Allegiance going to group up as 3, head out into the mid lane. Vivian and ShadowChair here as well, but it's a 3-on-2. If NeiruMah wants to get exciting, I think we could have seen the jump into the cross section there, but still playing it safe. I think that's the right way to do it.
And Allegiance haven't gotten themselves a lead quite yet, but they've prevented a Mighty Storm from doing the same, as Weekend takes a lot of damage. Nice job juking out the stun, but ends up taking a lot of free poke there from Vivian, who's looking a lot more comfortable on the Terra than he did on the Geb.
I really like Weekend's train of thought there, though. So Vivian dashes through, and he's on the other side of Weekend. He can only stun one player. Vivian's already done the thing that he's going to do. He dashes through, he puts you in a damage field. So he turns around and stuns the follow-up damage, or at least tries to stun the follow-up damage from the Scylla. That's the right move, because if you stun Vivian, you're still going to get hit by Scylla. There's nothing more that Vivian can do. The Terra's already done the Terra thing. So I like seeing that turnaround from Weekend. I don't think a lot of the players would have had that presence of mind.
You know, Mighty Storm have a lead in the jungle again in this game. They did in Game 1 as well. Weekend just was able to bring it back pretty quickly in that one. Now that we're at 10 minutes in and Sam has continued to have a lead over Weekend, about 700 gold and quite a bit of XP as well, about a level and a half. in that jungle. Sam has not been able to really find a kill yet, though. No one has been able to find a kill, but there hasn't been a lot of gank pressure from Sam. It's been a lot of farming, a lot of pressure in terms of getting people out of the way so that he and the rest of the team can do buffs, but haven't really put pressure on any players in terms of actual player damage. Now's the time that you want to start pushing that, because not much longer until Weekend is going to catch up in terms of how much damage he'll be able to output.
Yeah, Weekend was able to deal a little bit with a hammer. He gets stunned and brought down a half himself, so kind of 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Not a big deal in either direction. Vivian jumped on, stunned out, but he has friends around the corner. Nice stun coming out from Weekend. Vivian brought down pretty low. Now it's all about NeiruMah. The nice knockup by Sam for soccer. Ultimate from ShadowChair, but just barely enough thanks to the shell. Weekend lands aggressively, still can't find the kill.
Weekend pretty low, but has to use purification beads even if Vivian missed a stun. Ocean's on the point though, and Cyclone comes in and smashes him down for the first
dive,
blow.
dive, fineokay looking for the revenge kill. Weekend dodging, weaving, zipping, zapping, but he can't get out of there. Sam for soccer with the kill, 1-1 so far in that exchange. I thought Weekend was going to get out.
Oh, Sam gets that root immunity with the bird form. Cyclone hit it, but the right counterplay from Sam, 1 for 1. But love what NeiruMah does. Really risky to only use shell. I thought he was just waiting to use the ultimate for the immunity frames in response, but he did the math.
Yeah.
He knew exactly how much damage he was going to take, or at least he thought he did, and ends up surviving. And Weekend does a good job of getting in there and trying to get out purification beads, which he does, but was just so low from the initial poke exchange in the mid lane that he ends up falling eventually.
Yeah, it was. I thought he, like I said, I thought he was going to get out of there, but fineokay just. That's one of those calls where I don't have to be in comms. I know that fineokay is just saying, dive, go for it, I got him. Because he comes out like a bat out of hell from the jungle and just goes for it. No stopping whatsoever. Love to see that sort of stuff. A Mighty Storm able to contend right now with the Legion so far. A very important bounce back kill.
And this is where that gold lead that Sam has amassed for himself can really become impactful, whereas Weekend's still sitting on Heavy Mace 2, hasn't been able to finish off any of his penetration items. Sam has finished off Mass Immune right away. He went straight for an item that gives him 50 power, some extra movement speed, and some protections based on how many people are around him. This is a perfect item for Sun Wukong jungle. And there's a big difference in power between the Wukong and the Thor at this stage.
And mid-game, so we think of Sun Wukong as sort of like an early game character, early to mid-game character, but that's in the solo lane. When he's in this jungle position, he gets a little bit of poke during the early game, but really he shines as a mid-game powerhouse in the jungle. That's when you get a couple of items online, and a Tiger Stun into a couple more, Tiger Stun to a couple of basics can confirm a kill. ShadowChair, even if he hits that ultimate, probably doesn't get the kill either way, but a little bit of a tussle in the mid lane leaves ShadowChair ultless.
And ShadowChair needs to be careful now because he doesn't have beads for another 20 seconds, and now no ultimate either, so no CC immunity for him. Still positioning pretty aggressively, heading for this red buff invade.
Metyankey hears about it, and he gets stunned. Vivian going to find the root as well. Weekend immediately in the air. This is a good call. Grouping up. Weekend waiting out the Cupid ult. Lands on the backside. Forces out one set of beads. It's going to be Vetium's, and now still separates the team with a beautiful wall. Sam for soccer goes up into the sky, and NeiruMah has to fight against it. Metyankey gets the red buff, and Mighty Storm turns around, tail between their legs.
Weekend does a nice job there. You called it exactly. Separates that team fight, and Vetium and ShadowChair just a little bit too close together, both getting stunned by the exact same wall. Even if there wasn't a lot of follow-up off of it, at least it makes you double guess. You know, do I want to go in this sort of scenario? So Weekend doing a nice job defending the red.
That was, yeah, and that was, I loved his patience as well. If he goes up and slams down, he gets a 4-man stun, but then a Mighty Storm has time to react. He makes a Mighty Storm play their hand first, and then in response comes down from the sky. Very important sequencing of events that goes through there, and Weekend's kind of doing it.
But a Mighty Storm did get a couple of important cooldowns from that engagement. They got Metyankey's purification beads off of the Fields of Love from Vetium. NeiruMah had to use the shell and the ultimate in order to keep everyone up. So a Mighty Storm have an opportunity here to try and play aggressive whenever that Fields of Love is available again.
Cross side, Vetium uses beads to get rid of the stun out of the Thor wall. Shell gets expended as well, as does ShadowChair's beads are still on cooldown from that last time we saw way over there right after he used his ultimate in the mid lane. So, you know, kind of winds up being a wash. I don't think anybody wants to fight right now.
Probably not. Maybe
Except CycloneSpin.
Maybe CycloneSpin, who is even willing to go in the 2v1 because he's got that rage transformation on deck. A little bit short with the root, but with this blue buff coming up, could be an invade opportunity for ALG.
I don't remember the last time CycloneSpin didn't want to fight.
It's been a long time. That's his playstyle. He likes these
like
warriors
years.
that can fight 2v1. He likes assassins that if he gets ahead can fight 2v1. And we've seen how many times he's gotten a kill 2v1 and usually ends up living as well. He's a confident player and well deserved.
Yeah, it's fun watching Cyclone. It's never fun watching a player like Cyclone sort of suffer a slump. And I think this year has been a step of this fall split, kind of a step in the right direction for everybody on ALG. This could be their resurgence time.
Oracles get split one apiece between Allegiance and Mighty Storm, and that's with this Gold Fury now kind of within reach for both teams. Now both these squads have enough damage where if a team steps out of position for too long, they'll be able to they have the threat of losing that Gold Fury.
Yeah.
That Oracle vision becomes incredibly important at this stage.
Weaken up nice and early, landing right behind Vivian. Just to literally look at him.
No one from Allegiance was close enough to any sort of follow-up. I think that Metyankey was saying he might be in some trouble on the left with Sam for Soccer over there, so Weekend goes into the ultimate to try and get in position. But that was right as Metyankey says, "Oh no, I'm fine. Don't worry about me."
I mean, I guess level 12 on the Thor, not my favorite play of the day. We'll see how it works out as everything goes on. Vivian playing aggressive, looking for the root onto Oceans, gets it, not the stun.
Oceans finds us on a Vivian, though, and now he's in a bad spot. Terra's Blessing used. He gets the heal off of it as Vetium throws the Heart Bomb onto NeiruMah. Metyankey's still pretty healthy here. Drops the Suns on the red.
And that's going to be a nice play. Separating players one more time. Sam for Soccer alone on the left side. The rest of a Mighty Storm on the right. Nice ultimate out of Oceans. Ultimate out of ShadowChair already used. So he has to find that burst a second time. All in on Vivian, but Weekend gets rooted and booted. ShadowChair with the crush puts down the Weekend man.
But NeiruMah transforms, and look at where CycloneSpin is. Finally joining this fight. fineokay beat him here by quite some time, but he's trying to make that impact. Rage transformation happens right as he gets knocked up by Sam for Soccer. Nice job by Sam. Can't save Vivian, though. And now Allegiance has an option to go for the Gold Fury.
CycloneSpin playing zone cleanup man. Classic CycloneSpin. Shows up a little bit late, pushes everybody out. Allegiance don't want to go for the Gold Fury here. Down their Thor player.
And it's also because Oceans and NeiruMah were both very low on mana. Both pretty healthy and could have afforded to tank up that Gold Fury, but not enough mana to try and secure it. Both those characters need to use some mana, at least, in order to try and stay safe or deal that damage. So a wise decision by Allegiance to back up.
Vivian bringing out some interesting optimization here. Not the Urchin that we've seen on virtually every character. The Oni Hunter's Garb, a little bit different style of support build.
This allows you to get that damage mitigation very quickly when you're in the thick of things, and that's what Terra wants to do. She's going to be close to you, and then she's going to take some damage in response. That's excellent for what Vivian's trying to do in this game. And look exactly what happened whenever Oceans found the stun onto him after Vivian chased him down with some CC of his own. That's exactly the type of playstyle that Terra likes to play, and this synergizes very, very well with that. On the same side, NeiruMah going for Shogun's Gasari right after the Jade Emperor's Crown synergizes beautifully with what Allegiance's composition wants to do. They've got a couple of auto attackers on this side, and even with Coerce, you'd like to have it up more often than you can.
NeiruMah stunned in the Fields of Love. Not too big of a deal. The Heart Bomb might be. It's going to bring him down to about 25%. So he won't be able to really contend with this Gold Fury if a Mighty Storm stick to it, but they opt not to. They have vision over there, so they know NeiruMah's not back.
And NeiruMah does have that Coerce health buff that he gets whenever you throw Coerce onto a target, whether it's yourself or a teammate. You do get a small heal, and with Watcher's Gift as well, just hanging around these waves, should give Neil enough sustain to be able to stay. Plus, he doesn't want to back at level 11. Not only do you not want to back right as his Gold Fury is in contention, but you don't want to back before you can get that second relic, because you don't get to back very often in competitive play, especially at times like this in the mid game where a team could burst a Gold Fury very, very quickly. You want to time your backs well and get as much out of them as you can. So whether Neil is staying for an extra piece of an item or just until level 12, as soon as he hits it, heads back to base.
Understands exactly what his game plan wants to be. He's going to pick up that sprint, which I think is really important. Buy some wards as well and kind of leave his items at the place that they stay at. Grouping up for Mighty Storm on the left side, however, as they have the timer for this red buff in Allegiance's jungle.
fineokay and Cyclone start the rotation, but stolen away. Looks like red buff did go to ALG because of Metyankey's ricochet. So now it's a Mighty Storm on the retreat.
The big retreat. fineokay gets walled off and double tapped a little bit. Nice stun from Vivian. Going to keep one player at bay, but not everybody. And the Gold Fury will be pulled here. Allegiance and a Mighty Storm tied up. Allegiance looking to change that fact. Instead, Terra ultimate popped. Vivian tells his team to run. But Allegiance runs as well, so kind of wind up empty-handed. Gold Fury pulled by AMS and not going to find anything.
Really quick reaction by Vivian. A little bit too quick there with that ultimate. Now Cyclone wanted to pull this Gold Fury. He's looking for the rage transformation. He's going to find it. Immediately goes right onto the back line.
And just finds Vivian, pushing him away. ShadowChair able to Sentinel. Here's Sam for Soccer going on one, but surrounded by two. Just barely getting up there into the cloud. Meanwhile, ShadowChair, Crush is good. Ultimate also good. Metyankey's still alive, however, so not great. Oceans takes down the support. Vetium trades out with Weaken, so it's a 1-for-1 so far. fineokay barely hanging on. Vetium over the top. Got to watch out for that retreat. But Sammy Soccer taking the 2-for-1 and dealing damage. He'll get taken down by the support.
2 for 2. Met stays alive forever in that little tiny corridor. He and Neil just trading the back and forth in terms of who's taking the brunt of the damage. Well played between those two, but Met misses one auto as Sam is trying to get up into that somersault cloud, and it all kind of devolves from there. Excellent positioning from ShadowChair. Had to use both his relics at the beginning of that fight, but ends up not being really looked at because of how far back he was while looking at Metyankey. He was on point with all of his abilities. That was a good fight from ShadowChair.
Going to open up the Gold Fury for a Mighty Storm. 2 for 2. So we still do have players from Allegiance ready and willing to go for it. Mighty Storm have to go ahead and leash it here as Ocean shows up. Root not on the mark either. Mighty Storm likely to get Oracles at the very least.
No, Cyclone gets them both.
Oh, you get them both? Oh yeah, look at that, the blue glow.
Salmon's Leap. Getting that Oracle Vision for Allegiance, and as we mentioned with it before, this is the important time to get it because of how quickly a team can burn. Now, at the same token, it also can be not that impactful because of how quickly a team can burn it. You can have Vision, but Oracles don't let you stop them if you're out of position, if you get forced out or anything like that. Cyclone trying to stop the back of Vetium, making sure that Allegiance have a power play as long as possible. And this would have been a great time for them to pull gold if they had the information that we had, that there's two people on the right side of the map. But Metyankey's going to pull it on the inside of the pit. A Mighty Storm can't see him. Yeah, they don't have an idea. They don't have a ward there. They can't really see around the corner. Vivian has an idea, though, and he's going to come towards him. Metyankey says, okay. A little bit of help for the Cupid. But right side, Portal Demon going to be disrupted. fineokay versus 2. Now it's Oceans that's getting taunted in. fineokay still dealing damage. Here comes the Sun Wukong. And the ultimate force out of Oceans, no problem. Still got 2 warriors chasing after him, though. Weaken lurking around, trying to wall off fineokay if he comes in. But now fineokay's in trouble as Cyclone finds a big knock-up on the left. And that's going to continue the team fight towards the Gold Fury side of things. ShadowChair again early into the ultimate, bringing down CycloneSpin. Not low enough to keep him out of where Vivian was. He falls. Right side. It's still a 1v2. Don't let the decoy distract you. But Sam still going aggressive, gets the Aegis out from Weaken, but now he's got absolutely nothing except for that speed buff. Does get him out of range of 1 stun, but not the second. As NeiruMah finds it, but now has the perfect... unfortunate timing! Perfect timing if you're Sam for Soccer. Oh, Neil. He's sitting there going, I got him! Guys, I can't. I'm a dwarf. I got stuck, sorry. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. Flat tire. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, he's just on his way and then flat tire. Can't happen. Not a good look. Needs to call AAA. Yeah, I guess. What is the AAA for Fafnir support? I mean... leveling up Draconic Corruption more? Suku? Oh, Wheelish just comes through and goes, sorry, I'll fix this one, and just gives you Suku. What? No, you never thought about that one? No. I don't know. Literally never once in my life have I thought about Fafnir receiving Suku from a Wheelish and then riding it around. And like, how did that... How does that extend, so good. How does that extend his dragon form at all? You don't want to see NeiruMah on a Suku? Oh, no. I'm talking about if he gets a flat tire. Well, he's driving his dwarf mobile. Yeah, the analogy... Like, we were saying that getting a flat tire means that he's de-transforming from dragon form.
Pulling aggro into these rabbit holes is like part of my day-to-day. This is what I do. Mighty
really
Storm
true.
gonna fall down a rabbit hole looking for a Gold Fury one more time. Allegiants are well aware. It's all about the oracles though.
And then again, these two teams so evenly matched right now. And Sam has done a great job of continuing the lead he's gotten for himself in the jungle. But things like Hide of the Urchin don't matter to you quite as much whenever there aren't many kills in the game.
How do you break through so this is a nice even game filled with tension. How do you break through this moment? It seems like we're at a stalemate.
Usually whatever team makes that first mistake ends up the other team waterfalls it.
Sure. But right now, one of my issues here, and you're the mid laner, so talk to me here. ShadowChair, I want him to use these ultimates to secure kills. We're seeing him use them in the early starts of the fight, which is usually looked at as the noble thing to do, right? I'm not looking to just steal these kills, but there are no kills happening.
It's a fine line. You can't afford to hold your ultimate too long, but you can't afford to not get that reset if the opportunity presents itself.
Well, the opportunity presented itself for Metyankey, so left side, he's going to have to drop the Suns and run. Weekend pops the beats, and he's off as well. There's the Aegis. Weekend could be in a ton of trouble here. There's the ultimate that I'm looking for. One kill for ShadowChair in this team fight. Now looking for the reset, not going to find it whatsoever, but at least he makes the impact. CycloneSpin up north with the Thorns, trying to deal, separating his team from the other two. Nice stun out of the Chronos, and now everybody's looking at Vivian, but a regroup. Mighty Storm collapse. Where's NeiruMah? Not on the battlefield.
Metyankey answers back, though, onto Vivian, set up by a nice stun from Oceans from a distance. Now it's a 4v3. Allegiance still have some members here, and they're all pretty healthy, but low on mana.
CycloneSpin, keep an eye on him on the right-hand side. The Mighty Storm certainly are doing that, but it's Sam for soccer. Knocked up. Trouble is Chulainn still dealing with him. Oceans is gone. fineokay still on the good side of things. 1-0 and 5 for the solo laner. Metyankey, CycloneSpin, both stunned. ShadowChair takes out Metyankey. Dash forward from Vetium. There's the basic attack from Vetium. There's the kill for Vetium, number 9. That's a love potion. A Mighty Storm looking directly at the Gold Fury. Paid in advance.
Vetium ends the fight, and he's the one who started it off as well, because that entire engagement goes a Mighty Storm's way, because Vetium drops Fields of Love as soon as Weekend lands down on the ultimate.
Oh, yeah.
Weekend threw the hammer, but he was already crippled. Had to use beads, still wasn't able to get to the hammer, and so that starts off that entire engagement in a Mighty Storm's favor. Really well played by Vetium. Love what he did at the end of that fight as well. Actually shoots the Heart Bomb on the low health red buff, because that's going to immediately explode and stun both targets. And as you mentioned, ShadowChair on point, set up by Vivian and the rest of the CC from a Mighty Storm.
That's the impact that I wanted. It's not about ShadowChair getting a kill. It's never about the glory. It's about when you remove somebody from the battlefield, you have a 5v4 advantage. CycloneSpin does a great job of zoning people out, but a Mighty Storm just regroup. And then like, hey, we still have more dudes. We have more guys than you. They delete NeiruMah with just the like honeybee over, like, and then they just get the win.
With the what?
The honeybee. So there's a group of honeybees that kill wasps by overheating them. They don't actually like punch or sting. They surround.
Wait, bees don't punch?
No. The bees.
That's all bees do. That's all they do is punch.
They're left-handed, but they surround their opposition, and they move a lot. They go and they overheat the guy, so they literally like burn the opposition to death instead of like stinging. That's what you saw out of a Mighty Storm. They just full collapsed onto NeiruMah and just went.
Tier 1 tower goes down in the mid lane. So we're on the battlefield of the gods, and we're talking about bees.
AMC is literally in the meta and literally picked very often. Last game was banned.
Literally,
right
not in this game. As CycloneSpin finds the knock-up onto Vetium, but that CC chain is so potent. Cyclone 1 HP, will get chased down by fineokay, but I love this play from Weekend.
Weekend's going to save his solo laner. fineokay in some trouble, going to take half of the tower. And all of a sudden, fineokay looked like he was making a great play. Instead, winding up on the bad end of things. Mighty Storm able to push players out. And you know who is in this game? Vetium on the Cupid.
Tier 1 tower on the right side goes down. So Mighty Storm in the lead by a pretty substantial margin, about 5,000 gold. And the experience difference definitely in their favor as well. 4 levels in the jungle for SmiteVOD. He's level 20. We can still level 16. 3 levels in the mid lane for ShadowChair. And this team is really looking a lot better than they did in game 1.
Yeah, and like I said, King of the Monkey coming through in the jungle. In the mid game specifically, you look towards the Sun Wukong solo lane early game. So if you were expecting the same thing, like, hey, it's 10 minutes, why isn't he just crushing it right now? Very different style. He has to get that second item, and he goes for the Urchin. Sure, I love it, but the Jotuns is really where you see him halfway done with the Urchins, and you're like, all right, now it's time for him to make an impact. He does it, picks up the Jotun's Wrath, and that's when he becomes really scary. You see him number 2 on his team in player damage. Vetium far and above number 1.
Metyankey's done a great job for ALG, as has Oceans. Oceans has looked really good in this game, putting out damage from a safe distance, only has fallen once, and has put out plenty of damage in response, but needs to do a little bit more now that we're getting towards the later stages. Not to say he hasn't done enough already, because as I mentioned, I think he's done great so far, but 31 minutes, that's where it's time to look towards your Chronos and be like, hey man, you know, it's your time to start killing everyone nearly by yourself.
Well, he picked up the Polynomicon, which is, I like the Polynomicon in this position. Normally, I am not a Chronos Polynomicon guy, but I like it here because of exactly what you just said. It's his job to kill things kind of by himself, and the Polynomicon's going to help out with that burst damage. Just like that! Where did he go? ShadowChair, just gone. Bang! Polynomicon.
And now Allegiance have an opportunity at the Fire Giant. CycloneSpin already transforming, using that War Cry. This Fire Giant does get reset because NeiruMah finds stun into Vivian. Good ultimate out of Vetium as CycloneSpin's trying to chase him down to the back line.
Vivian pretty low. CycloneSpin occupying Vetium's time. Probably the best investment he could make. Up to the sky goes Weekend, looking for control. Misses completely. Vivian's still running around. Take care of him. CycloneSpin finally does so. Wigan picks up the kill, tying up the game at 9-9. 3 players timeout on the side of a Mighty Storm. The other 2 not interested in the Fire Giant whatsoever. Big boy play for Allegiance.
So that is a veteran team who's been to multiple lands, who's played at World Championships, who have been through the ringer a number of times against a team that's new to the SPL, because Allegiance take 1 player out of position. It's ShadowChair. Doesn't have the Purification Beads, doesn't have the Aegis. It was 1 stun from Weekend and NeiruMah combined that all of a sudden that entire fight goes Allegiance's way. And that's how punishing and how unforgiving the SPL is in terms of positioning, because 1 step out of position sets that whole thing in motion, going against a Mighty Storm. And
that's also speaks to the steadfast nature of sort of what Allegiance. This is a team, one, that's used to adversity, and then, like you said, the veteranship of the squad. You can fight into a team up 4,000 and not really care. All right, 4,000 gold split amongst 5 players is 1,000 gold. You have 1/3 of an item more than us on the average. What about it? Your Sun Wukong is crushing it. We'll avoid SmiteVOD in this next team fight. They can identify where that lead is and fight around it.
Well, that's the other thing, is that SmiteVOD wasn't in that team fight at the very beginning. He was on the left side of the map, whereas the rest of a Mighty Storm, they're grouped on the right. Sam's got to be there in that scenario. He was a little bit too late to the fight. By the time Sam got there, ShadowChair had been dead for a full 8 seconds.
Yeah, definitely a little bit rough here. 3 on the left, 1 in the mid. As we look for the split push, CycloneSpin by himself will be joined up by the rest of the squad. Not looking for the Phoenix just yet. The full group up of Allegiance comes to fruition here in the mid lane, looking for a tier 2 tower. CycloneSpin leading the charge.
ShadowChair still has the capability to turn this around, though. Got picked, and that's what happened. Now he looks for the taunt. Big taunt in from fineokay, and ShadowChair with the quick double reset.
Making it happen. Big stun coming out from the guys on Allegiance, but Vetium combines with the mid laner for 3 kills in total. Ask, and ye shall receive. Thank you, ShadowChair, making the impact. SmiteVOD are cleaning up the minions. Mighty Storm going to clean up the tower. Fire Giant or no Fire Giant, a Mighty Storm actually making it rain for once.
When was the last time you saw Blink Erlang Shen solo? Well, you might see more of it now, because fineokay blinks in with the taunt and gets that whole thing started. fineokay's looked great in this game out of solo lane. 1-0 and 10. He's looked like the best member of this team consistently, and that sets everything up for ShadowChair.
I think it really proves that game number 1 was just one of those, like, very few games. There are no such thing as absolutes. Very few games are lost in picks and bans, like an exorbitantly low amount. Game number 1 might have been one of those games that was lost in picks and bans. You know, we're sitting there kind of discussing it, right? But, well, did they actually? Was it the execution? And then we watched them surrender. That's exactly what happened. They were like, well, boys, we lose. Let's see if we can. No, we can't. All right, we'll try again in game number 2. This team is confident, and that's confidence play. You don't surrender that early if you think that you lost the game because you are just worse than the opposition. You surrender that game when you know you can play better in game 2, and that's what we're seeing here.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of room below you after that game 1, to be honest. So you got to play better than that. And a Mighty Storm certainly has. They came out of this game and had a lead the entire time.
Yeah.
Even when it was deadlocked, it was still deadlocked in a Mighty Storm's favor because of the experience difference between the jungles in particular. Sam has been level 20 for some time now.
He's been level 20 for a long time.
Still not there. Ocean's still not there. But now, just like a Mighty Storm had that potential to turn it around whenever Allegiance was sieging, Allegiance has that same turnaround potential because now Ocean's has Rod of Tahuti, now Metyankey's full build. Even though Mighty Storm is now the ones with pressure, don't be surprised if Allegiance could take this fight.
Well, still Mighty Storm grouping up, Sam for Soccer in the jungle. Mighty Storm just ready to go, ready to bang. Looking for the entrance, can't find it. CycloneSpin playing the zone guy. I think that's the right call. Just right up in front. Nobody wants to deal with that thing. So he's finally walking away. Vivian taking the tower, looking for a little bit of an opening for his team. Taking down the tier 2, easy peasy. Mighty Storm pushing up.
Because they have to defend that mid Phoenix, Allegiance can't really afford to try and defend that right-hand tier 2, and that opens the door a little bit wider for a Mighty Storm to go for their first Fire Giant of the game due to respawn in about 15 seconds. Now Allegiance has no towers to run to if the fight starts going poorly for them. They have to get all the way to the right side Phoenix if they want to get away from a Mighty Storm.
Allegiance is the team that will defend this Fire Giant. I think a lot of squads say, all right, we just push up the lanes and sort of opt not to go for it. But ALG is the team that wants to fight into it. Whether or not that's the right choice, Vetium wants to say no, go away. Immediately drops the ultimate. NeiruMah down about half HP and Metyankey in the yellow. Not a good look. And I think Allegiance were like, all right, yours.
NeiruMah's still sticking around, though, about half HP. Oceans is full health, and he wants to get into the thick of this, but a Mighty Storm have great secure with that Scylla ultimate, Scylla crush even, if necessary. Allegiance do give up the Fire Giant wisely. And now it's a Mighty Storm's turn to see what they can do with the buff.
Yeah, I expect big things. I think that, you know, Vetium and ShadowChair have been really putting on a show, but brought to you by fineokay, I think, like you said. And, you know, that is my selfish takeaway from this whole everything. I'm glad I get to watch fineokay play more Smite.
He's a really good solo laner and certainly deserves a spot in the league. He had a great rookie split with Soar. They went a different way with Scary D, who's got an excellent pedigree for playing at LAN and playing at Worlds specifically last year. So you can understand the decision that Soar made, but I agree with you. Glad to see him back in the league because he's a talented player. Even if he comes up with awful phrases.
It's your favorite, though.
It's literally my least favorite.
And look, that's what he's looking to do. He's looking to dab on the Allegiance, on the haters.
You realize how stupid it sounds when you say that out loud.
Well, because I don't say it. I'm just repeating what you like. That's all.
Vetium has to use the Aegis because he gets stunned out by Oceans on the left-hand side. Good response, but there wasn't enough from Allegiance to really follow up off of that. Could have just sustained off of his own hearts.
There's the blink forward and the taunt to Metyankey. Likely just going to get deleted here, but a good Aegis saves him for the moment. There's a stun out of Weekend. Very good play, and he's going up to the sky. 3 players grouped up, but he only gets 1. fineokay gets pushed out. Doesn't matter. Oceans with the double-digit kill, making sure he protects his left side Phoenix. Mid respawns. Allegiance get the stop. That's what they want. And a Mighty Storm has to retreat, regroup, and try again.
Metyankey was served up on a silver platter to ShadowChair, and he just dropped the ball. That's a blink taunt onto a character that had no beads because they got forced by Fire Giant, and ShadowChair was just off the mark with the ultimate. If he finds that reset...
I thought he Aegis'd.
No, he didn't get it off in time. ShadowChair just straight up missed it. Does so they only lose one member. It's only fineokay, and they don't lose a whole lot for it, but that could have been a game-ending team fight for a Mighty Storm.
Yes.
And that's, again, just the tough part of working together with a new teammate that you just got very recently, still trying to work out the intricacies of the communication, ends up in Allegiance's favor.
You're really trying to defend your mid lane brother here.
No, he missed.
Okay.
He just straight up missed. He can't miss that. That's the first thing I said. What do you mean?
I thought you were sitting here saying, like, oh, the communication, didn't expect the taunt. You got to be ready. Like, welcome to the big leagues.
Oh, yeah, no,
got to be ready.
Yeah, he missed.
Yeah, rough. But ShadowChair's favor, I think ShadowChair, again, off of a lot of what fineokay did, ShadowChair spun this game in a direction that a Mighty Storm could actually be in this position. Now, it's really bad that he misses that one instance, but a couple of those that he hits, a couple of good crushes, make us at this point.
Without a doubt. It's certainly off of between those two players in particular,
the power of mid.
Set that whole stuff up. So, sometimes Scylla giveth, sometimes Scylla taketh away.
That's certainly the truth. Mighty Storm grouped up one more time. 5 players strong here. Going to split up. At least Sam for Soccer will. Trying to keep Weekend on his toes. 4 players. Nice wall. Vetium brought down to 60. Going to be able to heal up, no problem. Bird at half. fineokay with the taunt again. ShadowChair not going to find the money. Weekend in the sky. Waiting. Looking for the back end, I guess. There he is. Right there on the backside. Looking for ShadowChair, who's already out. Mid lane Phoenix gone. The job is done. Vetium pushes it one further, taking down Weekend. Nice dash out of CycloneSpin, controlling 3 separate players.
Ocean still very healthy with his ultimate. No relics, though, as Metyankey finds a stun in combination with NeiruMah. Met's going to get stunned out this time, and still 5 members here using that sustain from the Terra monolith. Fire Giant falls off right now, so that buff is gone. No more sustain. As Allegiance lose their mid Phoenix and their jungler, but continue to keep the rest of their base healthy enough.
This is just fun to watch because I legitimately think that Allegiance here is the more experienced and the better team. And watching a Mighty Storm try to fight the David versus Goliath battle is entertaining because we're watching them sort of last time they realize, all right, that setup didn't really work, so we got to figure out a second time. ShadowChair again doesn't really find the kill, but he's able to adapt and adjust this time around, whereas Allegiance is just like, hey, we're just going to play really good D and you got to jump into it, see what happens.
ShadowChair did hit NeiruMah and forced him out of that fight a little bit, but he still is the
that's not
guardian.
The target you want.
No, and honestly, I think the taunt was a little bit off the mark there, though it did get some relics, so it's just one of those combinations where if an enemy has no relics, yes, you can afford to be aggressive right off the bat with I'm a Monster, but sometimes you need to wait, understand that fineokay's engagement or Vivian's engagement, whoever it may be, is just there to get relics and then hold it for a better opportunity later in the engagement.
That's one of those fights where I'm not. Even if I'm the coach of this squad, I'm not looking to point a finger. A lot of times you want to point the finger at somebody that you did poorly, not to like bring them down a peg, but so you can improve. That was just that team fight could have gone better in a number of different ways. I don't really care whose quote-unquote fault it is. Let's just fix it for next time, which is right about now. Right side Phoenix being aggressed on. Sam again in a different lane. 4 versus 4 here for a Mighty Storm with the junglers shading to the left.
Oceans did complete that Stone of Fall in time. Huge pickup for him. But the problem with going Stone of Fall against Scylla in particular is that Crush takes off that passive. Most gods you buy against Thoth, that's only going to get taken off by Final Judgment. Scylla, it does save you from a ton of damage off the initial engagement, but I'm a Monster is still going to gobble you up.
Plenty of burst after the burst. Phoenix down to 75% HP. There's the Terra ultimate out of Vivian as the Mighty Storm pushes into the Phoenix. CycloneSpin gets deleted. ShadowChair with a big, important kill. CycloneSpin has been running these team fights. Sam for Soccer getting shredded by Oceans, forced up into the cloud. Phoenix is still alive and healthy. Can't say the same for NeiruMah as he runs towards the back end. And the Phoenix gonna fall down here, right and mid, gone. A Mighty Storm, 5 players strong. Allegiance without their solo.
There's just no long-range damage from Allegiance at all. Cyclone does a great job of that fight, keeping everyone busy, keeping everyone at bay. He chases out the ultimate from ShadowChair, who doesn't even get to fire it off. That's a great start to that fight for Allegiance, but look at who they have. Hu Yi, not going to do damage from a distance. Chronos not going to be able to either.
Well, that's trouble for Vivian. He's got to dash right on out of there. Players from Mighty Storm still trying to deal the damage up front. Really big deal that Vetium gets poked out as low as he does by Metyankey. That might save the Phoenix.
Well, it does. They still has that Fire Giant regen.
fineokay's here,
taunt.
and he's ready, and he's gone. fineokay sets up, fineokay finishes. Beautiful play by the rookie solo laner. 2-1 and 12 for Mighty Storm's Erlang Shen. With one player down, CycloneSpin about to respawn. All the birds are dead. Mighty Storm not willing to go in, still not as healthy as they'd like to be, and I like this call.
4 members up for Allegiance, definitely the right call to back up here, even with all 4 Phoenixes, or 3 Phoenixes down. With 4 members up, it's a little bit too much defense. Plus, the mid Phoenix would have respawned in the midst of that. A wise choice by a Mighty Storm to back it up.
Yeah, we had a couple of different players very low on the HP charts, so important stuff to clean things up. 45-25. 25 kills is exactly what we have here. A Mighty Storm on the good side of the kills, and on the good side of the gold, 1,200 in the lead, though that number is for illustrative purposes only. Everybody maxed out as far as all their itemization is concerned.
This is looking good for a Mighty Storm to claim their first victory in the SPL with the new squad. Still some things to iron out, as some miscommunication between some members at times and not always taking the best fight still. But this is what you expect from a squad that has some talent, that has some good players that have that mentality to get better. And a Mighty Storm could really formulate into a pretty potent roster in not much time.
Yeah, I mean, fineokay, Vetium, San Francisco, this wasn't a surprise, especially when you look at the bracketed players. fineokay and Vetium on the 2 sides of the map. I think these guys are, I mean, Vetium has been at the stage at Worlds Finals before. Not a surprise to see him successful here. A Mighty Storm as a unit gets landed on by Weekend on the backside. ShadowChair down to 25%. NeiruMah trying to deal damage, but he gets damaged himself, so much so that he's out of there. Number 16 for ShadowChair. And his team, excuse me, just 7. That's 8 for ShadowChair. Big numbers anyway. Weekend's going to fall down as well. fineokay takes him out before the hammer returns. And the Titan going to go down. A Mighty Storm. New roster, new results. They split down the middle with Allegiance.
Well played. For as bad as they looked in Game 1, come back and look pretty solid in Game 2. ShadowChair in particular, his Scylla was really, really good. I know we kind of ragged him for that one missed ult, and got to hit that when you get the opportunity. But then that last team fight, he backs up, saves until the right time, gets the reset off NeiruMah, and then literally kills Metyankey from full HP by himself. No help.
No. And that's exactly, you're going to miss your abilities. How do you react after the fact? That's totally fine. That's how that works. Very good job. I am impressed.
Solid showing. Excited to see what that squad can do moving forward.
Cautiously optimistic is how I'm going to call it, but a nice, valuable earned win for the guys out of Mighty Storm. They find the split. We've got one more game. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Lost my way. No words to say. Time flies by on my mind. I'm cutting down the wires. Feeling kinda tired. I think I lost myself. I think I lost myself. I think I lost it all. I'm cutting down the wires. I'm feeling kinda tired. I think I lost myself. I think I lost it all. You know I've been thinking about you. I've been thinking about you. Lost my way. No words to say. Time flies by on my mind. I'm cutting down the wires. Feeling kinda tired. think I lost myself. I think I lost myself. I think I lost it all. You know I'm cutting down the wire. I'm feeling kinda tired.